This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, we now bring you a discussion on expectations from Prime Minister's visit to Israel. The participants are Skandaranjan Tayal, former diplomat, and Mahindra Ved, journalist.
Prime Minister Modi will have just about touched Tel Aviv on the first visit by the Indian Prime Minister to Israel. It marks 25 years of diplomatic ties between the two countries, ties that had been delayed because Israel was formed in 1947, India in the same year, but for several years India did not recognize Israel. Mr. Narasimha Rao's time, ties were consolidated ever since, and these are ancient ties we have had, and Mr. Modi will be there to consolidate them over the next 3 days. A very unique visit in that his host, Prime Minister Netanyahu, is going to be with him throughout the 3 days. That makes it really outstanding. Both of them have called each other friends, and on both sides the visit is turned historic. Ambassador Tayal, how do you look at this visit?
It is truly historic because it is the first visit of ever by an Indian Prime Minister to Israel. And from the very beginning, once Israel was established, it would be fair to say that Israel has been courting India. Israel has been trying that it should have very close relations with India, formal political relations with India. But in the beginning, our foreign policy was very third world oriented and in non-aligned movement somehow because of Israel's problems with Palestine, Egypt, etc. It was a controversial country. So only when the Cold War ended, Soviet Union collapsed, and 1991 the world was different. Then 1993 we had full diplomatic relations with Israel. But even then, the Israeli President Mr. Weizmann had come to India in 1996. But our President Mr. Pranab Mukherjee went to Israel only in 2015 when the present government came, because the earlier government somehow was a little hesitant in having very friendly visibility with Israel at the top level. So this visit by Prime Minister Modi is politically very, very significant, that India has announced to the world that our relations with Israel are close, they are friendly, they are warm, they are open, they are not against anybody, and they stand on their own.
One recalls from 1947 to early 90s, General Moshe Dayan had been invited by the late Morarji Desai, which came to be known much later and for which that government was really criticized. And those overtures took place, and now you have for 25 years relations that are slowly beginning to shape up. This visit is going to see a lot of talks. Very high on the agenda is terrorism, and both countries have their own special problems. In that, India has the Kashmir issue, but India believes in talking directly to Pakistan and no third-party intervention. Same way, Israel wants to talk about Palestine, but directly will not relish any third-party intervention. So the standpoints are very similar. Can we throw some light on that before we move to the larger issues?
Prime Minister Modi would not really like to talk about Kashmir as an issue, or even Palestine, except saying that we favor a two-state solution. But as far as terrorism is concerned, Israel has been a victim of terrorism since the 1970s, and we from the 1980s. And Israel, of course, we all remember, and it was a very tragic incident, 26 November 2008, when the 10 Pakistan terrorists came and attacked several sites in Mumbai. One of the places they attacked was the Shabad House, which was a Jewish-Israeli hostel, and where the whole family was eliminated plus the caretaker, and luckily one 2-year-old boy survived because Moshe Holzberg, because he was saved by the nanny. She hid him, and Prime Minister Modi will be meeting that family. But over the years, Israel has acquired a lot of very good technology in dealing with terrorist kind of situations. Like, even if some people are hiding behind a wall, they have some special kind of cameras which can take a thermal imaging behind the walls. They have very effective guns, weapons, tear gas, etc. Because we remember that it took us 3 days for us to neutralize the terrorists in Mumbai, in Taj Hotel. In that kind of situations, Israel has a lot of technology, lot of experience and lot of very good weaponry, and I am sure able to make use of it.
Radars, communication systems, they have been the forte of Israel so far as we are concerned, and we have been importing these big way. And although Israel is supposed to be having 7% share of what India imports, defense equipment, but the 7% the surge has been there over the last 10 years. There's a lot of give and take. Believe there has been a lot of work going on. A lot of weapon systems are being talked about, although both sides generally tend to be quite secretive about defense deals. But yes, a lot of things have been going. Do you think something will come in this visit?
We are already a major importer of Israeli arms. More than $10 billion worth of arms have already been imported.
1 billion a year in last
1 billion a year. And they are very good in missile systems and rockets. Barak anti-ship missiles we have purchased, and we are going to purchase more. Then anti-aircraft missile systems, a $2.5 billion order was placed in 2007. Some Spike anti-tank missiles. We are buying a lot of drones. But biggest thing which I think Prime Minister Modi would pursue with Israel is that there should be more research and development of these systems and more manufacturing in India. We are the largest importer of arms in the world. But this situation cannot continue for a long time. Ultimately, we have to manufacture these weapon systems, and there should be transfer of technology and R&D, and the Israeli companies are ready for this, because even if their contribution is 30-40% in this whole package, even then it will be huge, and there will be a good progress during Prime Minister Modi's visit.
There is a Make in India component already underway. In April, there were reports of Indian Navy, 630 million worth of weapon systems were bought. There have been this talk about 2 billion worth of arms being signed, but till it happens tomorrow or day after, it's not something that we can speculate. But there is a lot coming from Israel, and as you rightly put it, there is a proposal to have a strategic partnership agreement in non-defense area, and that is something unique, and that takes care of a whole lot of farm technology, water resources, drip irrigation. These are passé old stuff today. 10 years ago, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu's constituency in Andhra Pradesh, long ago. Today, it's been adopted by so many states across the country. And many more such technologies and all are in, which is Israel is ready to share with India. Because the Indian economy, the Indian farm technology has to sustain in a way that is technologically advanced.
Israel is a country of only 7 million people, but their per capita income is almost $40,000. And after 1947, they have really made the desert bloom. And 87% of their water is recycled. They have so much of innovation, so much of good use of technology, which can be very useful for our own agriculture. Prime Minister Modi had given an interview to Israeli television, and he said, Israel विकास की यात्रा में हमारा partner होगा. And in that, at the top would be agriculture. Already in India, 26 centers of excellence are being established with Israeli assistance. 15 are already established, and they are in a very focused areas like horticulture, cut flowers, beekeeping, how to increase the productivity of Indian farmer. Because another goal of this government of Prime Minister Modi is to double the income of the Indian farmer within a period of 4 or 5 years. How do you do that? You have to go beyond simple age-old methods and just wheat and rice, etc. You have to get some new technologies and new products in the whole basket of our farmers.
Talking still on the trade, now we are basically importing weapon systems, and we are exporting cut diamonds. Now, for all this enthusiasm, you find that the bilateral trade is very, very limited, just about $5 billion, and it is in India's favor. Do you see any prospects of this trade in non-security issues?
$4 to $5 billion for the last several years, and most of it is rough diamonds coming from Israel and cut and polished diamonds going back there. That's why it is in our favor. We are also exporting some pharmaceuticals and some IT services. We have our most of IT majors, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra is also there, because together there can be lot of software development, because the Israelis are also very good in software development, and India can provide the masses. It can be a very good partnership between India and Israel, but eventually it is a country of 7 million only, so I do not foresee that there will be some great jump in exports from India to Israel.
Focus will still be on defense?
Focus will be on defense, because their main exports again are diamonds, some pharmaceuticals, some chemicals, and then they export a lot of oranges and flowers, etc., where they really we don't have a market. But where it can work is to have some kind of a joint ventures, use their technology, have our own oranges, orange juice, that kind of agricultural value added, processed agricultural fruits and vegetables for export to other countries. That could be a good investment by Israel into India.
There's been a good amount of build-up for the visit on both sides. Because there in newspapers in India, they have allotted separate space and separate interviews to build up about this visit. In a way, the perfect backdrop to the visit has been Mr. Modi's visit to the United States and talking to Mr. Trump. In fact, the day the US visit started, Mr. Netanyahu in Tel Aviv made the first statement about Mr. Modi's impending visit to Israel, and saying it using superlative language for it. So there's been a kind of a little working in tandem, I would say. That shows, because it's looking at the whole bilateral visit in a larger sense.
Prime Minister Modi's visit to Israel has been talked about for the last several months. But this timing is very fortunate and fortuitous, because President Trump has a special relationship or liking for Israel. Visited Israel, his son-in-law, his son-in-law Jared Kushner is a Jew. And in the American political system, the Israeli lobby has a very strong weight. There is a Israel-American Political Action Committee, and in many issues we find that we are on the same side. While lobbying with American congressmen and senators, this nuclear deal was being negotiated in 2005, 2006, 2007 in the United States. We found this Israel-American Political Action Committee very useful to further our own interests. So, in a way, the political relations between India and Israel have been very, very close for many years. But first time, I would say that the Prime Minister has taken the courage to visit Israel and make a new beginning in India-Israel relations.
This whole combination, you find that the Indians in United States are doing very well. Let's look at the Indian diaspora, or Jews from India who have gone and settled down in Israel, 100,000 of them. Mr. Modi would be visiting and talking to them, and Mr. Netanyahu will be there to be as part of the meeting. I mean, something like Mr. Cameron was present when Mr. Modi addressed the crowd in Wembley. So this is also the atmosphere part. It's not merely government to government, but at the public level there has been a lot of enthusiasm.
All the people of Israel, every leadership, they are very grateful to India. They always say that the Jews were persecuted all over the world, but not in India. So that sense is very strong, and I think that is brought in this friendship, in this meeting with Prime Minister Modi. This is the reflection that Prime Minister Netanyahu will be with our Prime Minister for all the time.
So that gives the idea of a very close relationship, burgeoning relationship in very sensitive areas where we both needs are mutual. On that note, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on expectations from Prime Minister's visit to Israel. The participants were Skandranjan Tayal, former diplomat, and Mahindra Ved, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.